Hey everybody, today is Saturday, May 30th, 2026, and you're listening to the While We Still Can podcast. I was just laughing so hard I have tears in my eyes. My apologies. And we were just talking about how if anybody tunes into this for aesthetics, they're going to be woefully disappointed. Because half the time we're not even in the frame, and the other half the time we're looking down. It's just the way we function.
You know what? You're lucky that I'm even in my chair, okay? Because I am the person that gets called out at work for sitting on my legs in the rolly chair, folded up under me, and I'm about to fall off the chair every time. Like, I cannot be moving too fast on that chair. So, sorry, you get what you get. But I wanted to start off today. Hey, So yeah, we're paying to do this, guys. Okay, you know, there's no monetization here, which we like it that way. But I was at the store earlier, and you guys know my normal can't ever have any positivity at the checkout line. How's your day? What do you mean, sir? Like, I don't know. Like the world's we have concentration camps. We have concentration camps, and he goes, "What?" And I'm like, What do you mean, what? And he goes, what are you talking about, concentration camps? And I'm like, well, we have camps of people that are in there because of their skin color, an immutable difference they can't change, and they don't have a criminal history, and they're disappearing. They're disappearing people. There's kids in there, they're not feeding them or not feeding them well, anything. We have concentration camps. And he goes, oh, I'm like, didn't you read any books? And he's like,
is this the
I don't
kid at
read.
the checkout?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He goes, I don't read. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. And then I was like, well, at least we'll have the UFC fight at the White House. And he goes, oh, that sounds tight. And I was like, I got to get out of here. So there are...
And that pretty much wraps up America in a nutshell right there.
Idiocracy 2.0. Yeah. So apparently there are people that are excited about this UFC fight. I'm so
Well, if you're a soldier, you can only go if you're not fat. Did you read that?
That's right. And you have to meet a height requirement. I assume, is that you have to be tall above a certain height, or do they want vertically challenged people to show up for
that? I don't know. I know you can't be fat if you're in the military and go to the UFC fight.
And you have to pay your own way to
yes,
go to the
party. You have to pay your own way to do it too.
Gosh.
This is for Donald Trump's fucking birthday.
Yeah. Last year, he had that miserable parade that nobody attended, just like his inauguration parade, and
right.
I'm getting very like Sparta. Are they going to come out on like horse-drawn chariots and shit?
Well, honestly, I'm surprised he's even going to admit that he's turning 80.
Well, he did just come out and say that they're testing that new medication to make people never die, which makes me want to die. That's terrifying.
It makes me think of the movie Pet Sematary and the book.
Yeah.
So that wasn't very hopeful to start off with, but either is the rest of the episode. But here we go. Tony, what you got for us this week? I know shit be popping off.
It's just, there's lots of stuff going on. I talk to Amanda periodically. I'm asking her some questions to get more information as best as I can. Again, it's on her agenda. It's not mine. It's her comfort zone in terms of what she wants to share. And everybody has demands about it and all that. I'm trying to help her understand, the power that she has with her words right now. One of the things I think a lot of the people that were involved in this don't understand the power of their words and their statements that they can make. And someone like Amanda right now, she has the ability to do so. I mean, to be honest with you, and I know I told you guys this before, I encouraged her to just share basic information just to help people wake up and realize what she witnessed and what she saw. She said, put a video out yesterday, which talked about, the 20 years she was involved in all that. And she talked about just, the fact that, there's lots of different people that she observed and stuff like that. I'm encouraging her to talk a little more without having to drop, necessary bombs that could cause litigation or anything like that, but just be like, hey, remember this one party we were all at, and just leave it at that.
Yeah, like beat around the bush, paint the situation. The people that were in the situation will know that she's talking about that situation, and leave out just a little bit to keep yourself out of court. But okay, I know. Now you know that I remember. You probably don't even know that I know. And again, you were talking about the culture of the United States, and of course, being involved in these circles of groups, like of people, the way they keep you in, it's just like a cult or a gang. Blackmail. Oh, if you're tied up in this illegal shit, you can't tell on me for my illegal shit. So my mind's telling me, I'm sure that there are skeletons in her closet.
Sure. For the people at home that are maybe this is your first episode, we are talking about Amanda Ungaro, who's an interesting gal that's got an interesting story, involved with a dude named Paulo Zampoli. And if you don't know who that is, stop and do a real quick Google search. And Tony, our internet sleuth friend, has uncovered a lot of dirt on this dude. So that's kind of where we're at. So sometimes every week we'll catch up on what's new in that realm.
Well, and the one thing I like about Amanda, she is very down to earth. I mean, she was a child when she was thrust into all of this. She was
like 15 or 16, right?
Well, she was 13 when she started modeling
Oh my God.
models in Brazil. She was 15 when she started traveling to Europe with Jean-Luc Brunel as her agent, who I've been looking into today, and I'll share some stuff with you guys today.
Yeah, and he went to jail, right?
He went to jail basically for the same thing that
he's
Epstein
dead now. Am I right?
He died exactly the same way Epstein died. Cameras didn't work, security wasn't watching. And, back in 2016, I was reading a little more about this yesterday. Back in 2016, he was actually talking to the victims' lawyers about helping expose Epstein and a lot of what was going on. And apparently, he just all of a sudden just dropped off the radar and wouldn't talk to anybody anymore. So, the obvious guess is, especially surrounding that time with the election and everything, who knows, he was silenced in one way or another to not support the victims anymore. And I have asked Amanda, I don't want to probe too much in terms of her relationship she had with Brunel or anything. She was a child. It's not any of my business. It's honestly any of our business what her personal affairs were at that time. And but you have to figure she was surrounded by these men,
Predators.
These predators. I mean, she literally, we were just texting each other right before we got on the call, and I was sharing some information with her that I found in the files and asking her what she knew about things, and I won't share again until I can piece it together in a way people understand. But I did find an email, and I asked her, hey, does this have to do with Zampoli? And she says, yeah, it was between Zampoli and Jean-Luc.
Hold on.
I looked at some of the emails. I was asking Amanda about a couple things just to see if she was familiar with some stuff. She was somewhat familiar. I don't like to probe because I know she's got a million things going on too, so I don't want to ask her too many questions. But one of the things had to do with, when Brunel came to the United States, he tried to create a second Karen Models, the United States version, which is what he ran in Europe. They did not allow him to do so. There was some litigation surrounding him wanting to do that, and he ended up creating MC2 models in the United States. And there's an email referring to the fact that was a shout out to Epstein, as in, with Einstein's equation. E equals MC squared. Well, MC2 is the modeling agency, and E was for Epstein. So it was a literal direct shout out to Epstein. And Epstein actually financed Jean-Luc Brunel to the tune of $1 million to start up MC2 in the United States. And I just found an email where they discuss it. So I started going down a couple different rabbit holes, and the bank that financed that $1 million was Mellon Bank, which brings us back to the Mellon family, which, Paul Mellon was on the plane multiple times. And then Tim Mellon, the son, not only donated millions of dollars to Trump super PACs, but he also donated 130 or 160 million dollars during the shutdown to pay troops. If you remember that, and everybody's like,
Yes,
"What the hell
I
is this
do.
guy doing?" You know what I'm saying? Obviously, so there's a lot going on there. So then I started looking a little more, and I was digging. And I found one email that I posted earlier where back in 2012, Epstein and Jean-Luc were talking, and there's like almost 4,000 emails between Epstein and Jean-Luc Brunel to be gone through. And I'm looking at the more dated ones, like 2006 to 2012 and stuff. And there's an email in 2012 where Jean-Luc is telling Epstein, "Oh, I'm in." I forget what nation. It was a Middle East nation right now, Dubai. I think they were in, and he's I'm going to have lunch with Jennifer Lopez after her concert and stuff like that. So yeah, and this is Jean-Luc Brunel talking about hanging out with J-Lo, and in 2012 was right around the time, if I'm not mistaken, about her Diddy years too, right? I don't. We can confirm that by looking online, but. And then I found another email that had to do with this Tamara Mellon, and so I connected. I was like, okay, she part of this family too, and of course she is. And she was it was an email from Peggy Segal, because Peggy constantly was telling Epstein about all these events she would go to, and this was in St. Bart's. And this was back in about 2012. Also, no, this was 2010. And she was talking. There's this laundry list of celebrities that were there, and then of course Weinstein was there. Harvey Weinstein was there. Martha Stewart was there. All partying together in St. Bart's during this time. And this where this Tamara Mellon was there. Also Dasha Zukova, who is one of Ivanka's best friends, and she was married to the Roman Abramovich guy. And then also Wendy Dang was there, and you guys know I've talked about Wendy Dang a lot. So it starts bringing everything, here's my visuals, everything into the picture of things here. I mean, it's all an incestuous, large, worldwide organization of people.
And when I look at that pattern, and with my lovely pattern recognition, that is a fucking curse, just so you know. That's the same type. When you say incestuous, it reminds me of bloodline family type behavior, which this just reinforces the whole who's really pulling the strings behind the, just like the royals, they keep it in the family because that's how they keep their money. And we look at all of these people that are marrying someone who just got divorced from someone else, but might be a cousin, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you look at how through history, this is how these royalty families or bloodline families keep the money and keep it within themselves. And then they start coming out with an extra arm and shit. Like, I don't know.
So I was just doing a quick Google about the Mellon family. And they're the same Mellon that Carnegie Mellon University, right? And it says that the foundation of their wealth was laid in Pittsburgh around the turn of the 20th century. So Irish immigrant, their patriarch was an Irish immigrant, and he provided crucial risk capital to the city's steel, coal, and oil, and glass industries. And it talks about how they seeded the Gulf oil industry to challenge the Rockefeller Standard Oil empire. That's kind of interesting.
Okay. So okay. They're still sticking with the fossil fuels. And also, I looked up J-Lo. They broke up in 2001. Oh, okay. So a little bit later.
This was a little later. So it may have been her Affleck year.
But yeah, it's always the same people. Like, everywhere you turn, there's at least one of these names involved in the BS.
Well, and again, just because you're with someone doesn't make you guilty, but I'm going to tell you, just like your mom told you, you are who you hang out with, okay? So, yes, there is no way you were friends with these motherfuckers for 20 years, and you didn't see nothing, do nothing, or have anything, or take any money. You did. You got to prove to me you didn't.
Well, one of the things I came across was there was this woman her last name was Vasquez, that was mentioned in the emails, and it talks about how she embezzled $500,000 from MC2 as well during all of this. So it sounds like they had their own internal corruption problems, when their whole operation was corrupt and everything else. I did come across also, because one of the things I'm still trying to go down various holes about is the whole visa programs and how they manipulate visas.
Right.
I found a guy in Florida that was mentioned. He's a lawyer that supposedly was handling visas for Epstein and the girls as well, and using fraudulent paperwork to get them work visas and whatnot. So there's a lot in there. It's interesting when you go back to revisit some of this stuff and do some of the searches we may have done early on certain names, and you kind of dig in a little bit, how much more context you can find. It just goes back to everything that I've ever done is, when you revisit, it's like now with what we know, it may be a piece of the puzzle you never even put together, but then when you look at it, you're like, oh shit, that makes so much sense now. The fact that last week we just learned this,
Well, and I think for a long time I operated with the mindset that like most people are actually decent.
Sure.
And I hate that like that's a grieving part for me. Because I don't want to believe everyone is really bad, but like this corruption, like there were so many points where things could have been stopped. I mean, I'm talking like hundreds of years ago at this point. Like, I mean, just so many points where it should have stopped, and it seems like all we do is push it under the rug, Band-Aid. We just got to make it through this, and it's like, okay, how are we expecting for anything to actually get better when everyone that had some way to fix any of these problems just went along with it as well?
To Lisa's point of, with the Mellon starting off the way that they did in Pittsburgh in the early 20th century, this again just paints a picture of the last 100 years of all of this coalescing together in the oil industry and the power, the petrodollar, which is obviously a big deal now, and how it all just meshes together with the steel industry and the aluminum industry and everything else, which ties also to what we dealt with Russia recently, and it's a 100-year war.
Well, and again, I really feel like they have us believing that all of these things that they made up are real and fact, because like. When I think about money, and I know I'm getting woo-woo here, but like our stocks and shit, I'm like, no, that is numbers on a screen. These rich people, if they went to the bank and asked for money to be pulled out, it's not there. They don't have the money. It is numbers on a screen at this point that they're getting from us.
Well, and that's, I just read about some stuff about that specifically. They were saying for every dollar that a bank loans, they actually owe 9. So it's there's
Well, it is. Yeah. Like it's pretty crazy that, like, let's take Elon Musk for instance, right? Like, so much of his worth is based in Tesla stock, and that of course changes with the market every day, but he can go and borrow money or get a loan based on collateral from the Tesla stock, but until he sells that stock, and again, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, it's just the way the system is. Like, until you realize that gain, you don't pay any taxes on it. So, the wealthy people are obtaining financing based on their wealth that they use to earn more wealth, and so many
without
times
taxes.
That specific avenue is not taxed.
and
Whereas a W-2 is the worst thing for taxes. Like,
sucks.
And, and this all goes back to, again, what Epstein's been doing for years in terms of laundering, in terms of not paying tax, in terms of how he explained Trump operates. I mean, one of the reasons that Trump was able to get financing for a lot of the projects of the last 2 decades was the fact that Russian investors were supposedly buying these properties, of these unbuilt properties. And once they had a certain amount of quote unquote investors having said they were going to commit to doing this, then they he could go to a bank and be like, "Hey, I'm cool now. Look, I've got all these units sold already, so please give me the rest of the financing I need." And then, of course,
Yeah, because
that never happened.
nobody in their right mind's going to loan a guy like Donald Trump with the track record he had any
Deutsche
money.
Bank.
What?
Deutsche Bank.
Don't you wish you had a loan?
Deutsche. Well, and again, like, we always talk about doing these things, and people are like, well, you can't do that or something. Why? Like, what? Why? They're literally, they got us to believe that all of these things are how things work because they said so, and then we've just been doing it. And then it's like, why do we do it? Oh, because this is how it's always been. So you see that cycle, and if you can understand that, the lovely pattern recognition there, I'm like, you're making shit up. Don't tell me I'm late. You change the time twice a year. Like, fuck you. So I guess I'm at the point where I'm like, play the game. I hate games. Like, ugh, I don't like this game. But I just thought I'd
that would
stick
be a
that
good
out there.
base for your ad.
Okay. Okay, so Jean-Luc Brunel. I think that's
Yeah.
great that we're talking about Jean-Luc Brunel, who was literally the European Epstein, and then he literally had the same fate as Epstein in the jail with the rope around his neck. So
I am curious about. Okay, so there was Jean-Luc Brunel. There was Jeffrey Epstein. They're dead now, but the enterprise goes on. So we've talked a little bit before about who's running the enterprise, and Jeff Kushner's name came up, right? Who else do we think is got the reins to this horse now?
I'm sure it's being hidden tremendously. I mean, all of these model agencies are still operating. All of this was still going on. These fetishes are still being fed one way or the other. It's a question of how. I've talked about Jared Kushner having, at the very least, taken over the money laundering part of that.
Yeah, the finances of the operation.
Of the operation.
well, I would like to introduce the idea that the type of trafficking that we're doing, I think, may have changed, or like the market. Okay, so I think that honestly, the having, the Pizzagate stuff, the children and the pizza and the jerky and all the stuff. Like, I think that they have figured out how to just create those babies, and they're not someone else's baby. Kind of like a Zorro Ranch vibe. Like, they just have supply that no one's looking for because they were not stolen. So I think that, and then I also think that they're making, again, woo-woo, whatever, like hybrids or it's like some stems. I think they're creating maybe some sort of like sex robot or and they're just not needing the children for that specific thing anymore as much. That's a theory that I've been working on. I don't know.
Oh, I did hear Ashley St. Clair say, y'all probably know who Ashley St. Clair is. She's a gal that's having a moment now doing the podcast circuit on the more left side of things. And an important part of her history is she was in a relationship of some kind with Elon Musk, and they have a kid together. But she did say that, these guys do not like women, period. And if they could figure out a way to have like an artificial womb and reproduce without having to deal with women, then they'd be really happy about that. I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
Well, I just read also an email that was talking about, somebody very point blank talking about Epstein and Jean-Luc being bisexual. This was back in, 2006,
Oh, they're just deviant in any sort of way. It's not sex, it's power and the ritualistic control of.
Well, yeah, and I think there's to some extent that all of that is still going on. It's just been sheltered away and scuttled off to a different island or without. I mean, look at all the different people that have islands down there.
Well, wasn't that people hypothesized that that's how maybe he blackmailed Wexler?
With by sex. Yeah, that's specifically what I read was that Wexner was paying him for sex essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, because he got a lot. Jeffrey Epstein got a lot of money and property and wealth from
Wexner. Yep.
Wexner. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. Eeh. Well, and I think a lot of the human trafficking they're doing is for organ harvesting now, which would leave no trace of, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no kid to go tell, or no kid to become an adult. So, you know, who's going to tell if they're dead and their organs are in somebody else? So, yeah, I think they're doing all kinds of weird shit, but I would love to know who's doing it. I'm sure that there's some agencies with, I bet it's more agency wide in the United States at this point, like foster care, not all foster care, but you know, that sort of thing. Any place that has children that are untended.
Well, and if that's true, like if that's a thing, then that organ's not gonna implant itself. That organ is not gonna transplant itself. There would have to be a very complex network of to whom that organ went, and that's a whole process in itself. You know what I mean?
You
That's
gotta
like,
watch those documentaries. You should watch the Chinese doctors. They are forced to do these surgeries. Like,
Well, and you know, when you talk about the blackmail on, you know, all of these socialites and rich people and everything else, you know, there's varying levels of embarrassment for all of them, whether it be sexuality. It doesn't necessarily have to be deviant in a way that involves, you know, all the really bad things, but they are still now part of it and connected to it, and that's why they're silent about it, because
and they didn't stop
yeah,
it.
and they didn't stop it. Yeah, and
yeah, and in this day and age, who cares if you're gay? Nobody cares. Like, or maybe that's just my opinion, and people still.
Most of the people that care is because they want to be gay with you, but they don't want you to know.
But I just feel like I know it's harder in the world to move through the world as a member of the LGBTQ community. I get that, and I totally recognize that. But it's hard for me to believe in this day and age that would be something bad enough to be blackmailed about. You know what I mean?
well,
I guess that's easy for me to say when.
but I think it also goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, which is culture. You know, in the Hispanic culture especially,
Right.
you know, there's this large Catholicism,
Yeah, you're
you
right.
know, and so, you know, Hispanics, you know, I think of Marco Rubio was the best example of it all. You know, it's, you know,
Oh, sad Marco. He's so sad.
Or if you're
Oh,
if you're a female songwriter and your whole discography is about everybody thinks your discography is about breakup songs with boys, it would be tough to come out as lesbian.
shake it off.
Shake it off.
shit.
So yeah, there's so many
Oh.
interesting. There's like a million topics I know I wanted to talk on, but it's just it's hard. You know, of course, with Zampoli. One thing, and I'll mention it here. You know, there had been word, and I think even Becca mentioned it too, about Zampoli stepping out of his position June 1st, and I told you guys about this yesterday, and even Amanda mentioned that to me. So I had sent her a message yesterday, and I said, "Hey, what was this about him being out of position?" Because I looked it up, and special envoys don't have like a term limit. They're, you know, basically in the
Because they're fucking made up.
exact. Well, you know, and Pam Bondi just got a special envoy position too,
Right.
and right before she went and talked to them the other day, and
Not under oath, by the way, because she's a pussy bitch. Sorry, allegedly.
and so, you know, and so I had asked him, I said, "Hey,
Right. You can have your
that?"
opinion.
And then it got me
Yes.
thinking. I was like, you know, I think he probably only said that to make it look like he was going to have time to be a father, and he lied.
Yeah, to make
right.
it sound good in court
he just
so
made it
that
sound
he
good in
didn't
court.
get his custody taken away, even though he doesn't have custody.
Yeah, and that's the
Right.
whole thing. And I still don't understand exactly what's going on with that. But, you know, Zampoli does not have court-granted custody of his child. Amanda does. You know, this is from November of last year, after she was in Brazil, after she was at ICE, after all of this had happened. She has court-granted custody. and it's been manipulated, obviously, in a way that the son is with St. Poli now, and Amanda is unable to enter the United States to do anything. Her husband is unable to do anything because he has an ankle brace on still. And I do know as a fact, and I will openly say this, the prosecution keeps delaying and delaying and coming up with excuses to not handle this and get it done, you know. That's why I feel like she should be a little more vocal about some of those parties she attended, because that might be...
Right. Give me my son
Yes.
back. Give
Well,
me
she
my
could-
like.
She could follow in Ashley Sinclair's steps and just do some get ready with me videos and
Yeah,
spill the beans, the tea.
exactly. And
Well, I think what we're seeing though is there are all of these court, people are like, okay, the courts are holding, and which in some ways, yes, that's the last standing thing we have, but what we're seeing is all of these rulings go out and no one's fucking following them. So what's the point? Okay?
Yeah.
Like, people are yelling about that judge that said that the Kennedy Center had to have Trump's name off of it. Okay, that sounds great on a piece of paper. They're not going to fucking take it down. So, you know what I'm saying? Just like the tariffs, just like all the stuff, it's like, oh, yes, this is an order. Okay, but we don't follow orders, so why does it matter?
Yeah. So how can we, the people, demand enforcement? And it's hard when the top of the pyramid there, the criminal's still in charge. I feel like until
Well-
he's gone, we don't have a chance.
Well,
What
it
can
makes
we do?
sense why the data centers are now.
Yeah.
We need it now. And all this shit. And because we know that people are starting to catch on.
Well-
Not the kid at Dollar General, but
Well, like, people are protesting outside of the
our concentration camp,
what's the one with
Delaney
the
Hall.
yeah, because they're doing a food strike, hunger strike.
And then
I saw
read. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
there was like an international correspondent was there on the ground. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I've not seen any of that on our network news. Not that I really watch it closely, but how
No,
would
they're
people
not talking
know,
about it.
right?
They're not
Like,
talking, and I feel like what they're doing is they're going to like specific places and doing this, and because they can't do it all at the same time, right? So they're gonna go break down little pockets of fucking areas, and they own the media, so we don't know. We don't know
Right.
about it unless you go and look for it yourself and you know how
Mm-hmm.
to look for it. And so I feel like they're just weakening the states and these little places. And we got to do something.
well, and there's good signs. I mean, I believe. I mean, we know Trump's health is the opposite of what they keep saying it is.
They have the medicine now, Tony.
I'm shocked he's still
Yes,
alive.
I agree, and I think once if something happened, whenever it does, things will change immediately. You don't have the head of the snake anymore.
Yeah.
And also you have to look at, keep an eye on what the billionaires are doing, and we've talked about this a little bit, but Peter Thiel is essentially
Yeah.
Argentina.
He's sweating.
Yeah, I mean, and this is literally a guy,
Okay.
and I think it has to do with, he literally can see the writing on the wall because he has the technology that's telling him that they
Right.
themselves
So
completely.
do you guys think that Peter Thiel knows that the midterms are like the tide is turning so much that they can't even screw with the elections enough to have a favorable outcome for them, and so they're making contingency plans? Do you guys think that's what's happening?
Absolutely.
You-
Yeah.
Do you think
Oh.
that I wonder what he thinks is going to happen to him in the United States if he doesn't bail to Argentina? Do you think he thinks he's going to get arrested? Or
No, I think he already just has everything he needs in place, and he's like, okay,
peace
I
out?
have the surveillance, I have all the contracts, I have a shit ton of money. They're gonna kill me if I stay, but I still have all the control, so I'm out.
I think it's possible.
Why does he need to even be here
Well,
anymore?
I mean, but Elon even said himself, if he hadn't helped Trump win the election,
He
like,
did in public
yeah,
for everyone to
yeah,
hear.
he said if he had not, they would be in jail. Period. They know
Yeah.
exactly the writing on the wall, and I think the more they see that truly 70% of the United States now is not okay with any of this that's going on,
Yeah.
is they see that strength is building towards these midterms, and I think it's going to be a shit show. I mean, we all know that. However the election goes down, it's going to be a shit show, and and it still frustrates me that not a single elected official's talking about what they're going to do when Trump doesn't seek power.
Right.
And
Right. Well, and assuming they do get it back, do you think that they've learned, they being the establishment Democrats, do you think they've learned their lesson that this time they better cut the head off the snake, burn the son of a bitch, and then bury it in order to not have this happen
Absolutely
again?
not.
Or do you think they're still like, oh,
No, they're getting the money.
Well, look at what they're doing with Israel right now. I mean, there's a bipartisan bill they're trying to pass to create our defensives. We're no longer going to fund Israel, but we're going to just have the same.
We are the IDF.
Yeah.
how can the people of the United States be okay with us merging our military?
They don't
Yeah,
know.
they
They
don't
don't know,
Jesus.
Lisa. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's like your guy at the grocery store. UFC, UFC.
Okay,
Which
go
is by
join.
design. Like,
Go join. I know.
that's why they can do this stuff, is because nobody's paying attention.
The trashiest. Jesus, idiot. It literally is a picture, like the front movie of Idiocracy,
Yeah.
like the outside. Oh, God, it's bad. Well, at least Stephen Miller is ugly and knows it.
Oh,
He does
well,
not.
he's not as ugly as Bannon,
Before.
who Katie Miller dated before she met Stephen, apparently. I mean,
Okay,
you have to have some
do you
serious.
think Elon, Steven, and Katie, like, did a thing? Do you think they did a thing? Katie, Elon, and Steven?
Are you talking Eiffel Tower? Is that what you're trying to?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know what that means, but I don't want to know what that means.
Oh.
We'll let the comment.
I'm not even going to Google
And
it.
it's where you high five at the top.
High five.
Okay. But yes, no, you actually, Lisa, you do need to. But remember there was the black eye or whatever that we never like heard. And then Katie was gonna go work for Elon or something. I really feel like I'm just saying, I'm just reading vibes. But so there is a woman named Paulina, I'm looking up her name, Paulina Magu something. And she is the social media person for the Senate Democrats, which again, they are a piece of
Okay.
shit, but she's funny. There's always
Yeah.
a girl behind it.
They're always young, too. There's these
Yes.
young people that just
Women
throw
of
the-
color
throw it out there and
talking
say-
shit behind
Yeah.
a white dude. Love
And what
it.
did she tell
Okay.
Stephen Miller when he posted some stuff? She said,
Let's see.
and we quote,
Hold on, I gotta hold on. Let me write. What time is it? 38. Stephen Miller tweet. Hold on.
Let me just throw in, remember, a lot of people forget that it's known out there that Trump used to like to sleep with his buddies' wives while they listened on the phone. That can be found out there somewhere. But that's like a known
can you repeat that because you cut out?
Yeah, say it.
that
It's,
the known
it's
thing,
commonly known
Trump
at what?
used to used to sleep with his friends' wives while they listened on the phone. It was like a control thing for him within that group.
A cuck,
Yeah, they all-
a cuck situation.
That was like one.
Again, the man has no redeeming
Yes.
qualities. He's so
That's a power,
horrible.
but that's obviously a power grab.
You know, and imagine what's going
Okay,
on. I mean,
I
what's her
found-
name? And I'm sorry, and I'll let you go in a minute, Tina, but who was it? Laura Loomer said she gave Trump the best blowjob he ever had in his life. I mean, they're openly
Oh,
saying
God.
it now. You know, it's insane.
Remember when we thought maybe she was pregnant with Trump's baby? She was holding her stomach all weird. Ugh. Oh, God. And when she ate dog food on her podcast, I'm going to give her some points for that. Okay. So Paulina tweeted, she retweeted, Stephen Miller posted something, and her retweet of his photo was, "Shut up, you ugly fuck."
Accurate.
Queen.
Yeah.
And so, Katie went on a tirade against this Paulina girl. Never once said my husband is not ugly as fuck. But
Because we have eyes. We're not blind.
yeah, like she's like, okay, they're stupid, but they're not that stupid. Like that's real obvious. But oh my God. And so all of this girl, so Katie went on a tirade against this Paulina girl. And Paulina she gives zero fucks. She's like, shut up, you ugly fuck. And she was on an interview the other day, and they're like, oh, let's see, Katie Miller has been posting about you. I want to give you the opportunity right now to respond. What do you want to say to her? Paulina's response: I want Katie Miller to know that her husband is an ugly fuck. So, Queen, She's my hero for
Okay,
today.
here's breaking news, which should make us wonder what the heck's going on. Is
Okay.
apparently in Boston they just had a loud explosion that went all across Massachusetts and
Oh my God.
New York.
And
Oh.
it's currently 2:07 in the afternoon on May 30th.
And
We're
yeah,
having a
like a
storm.
sonic, almost like they said, maybe an earthquake, maybe there was a big boom that just happened. Like 10.
Do earthquakes usually boom?
Well,
I'm not a
no, I don't know.
meteorologist. I don't know.
I'm not a
But yeah, so-
meteorologist.
Oh no, that's a geo. Wait, what is a person that does the earthquakes? Is that a-
Seismologist or something?
Okay, sorry.
Seismos
I'm not one
something.
of those. I can guess a size though. I'll tell you that.
So yeah, but it makes you what's going on. I mean, what happened in Boston?
There's
Okay.
a lot of shit blowing up right now,
Yeah.
guys. Just so you know.
Sonic
There's a
boom
lot.
heard across
Yeah,
Massachusetts.
explosions. Well, it's across multiple townships in the Boston area and Rhode Island, and they say the whole house shook. Somebody's saying, "Huh, yeah, aliens in Boston."
Oh my word.
It's like,
Um,
remember that's War of the Worlds.
What else? Do we have anything else we want to talk
There's a
about?
million things, but I gotta get going soon. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Follow the
Well,
money.
Yeah, and let me know if you find out what happened with that sonic boom.
yes,
Okay. All right, guys. Well,
Okay. Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. We're gonna get Tina a hat so she can
yes,
feel
So
not
we can
left
be-
not feel left out.
we can be the throuple, like Elon, Steven, and Katie. I'm done.
love
I'm
you
gross.
guys.
That's gross. I gotta go. Okay. Bye, guys.
See ya.